Let us discuss the question, who is wearing the bell of shame? The shame bell for the Miami Dolphins. Who's wearing the shame bell for the Dolphins? So I've got Hasbro, Puffy Sticker, and Wolfgang Puck. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some deep-fried, delicious, crunchy tacos. This is what we're going to do. All right, so let's see. Who's gonna wear the shame bell? Ding, 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 ding. How about Mike McDaniel and his merry band of captains? Thank you. This was a BC special, not Boston College. Bill Callahan, you probably don't know who that is. His kid's a terrible coach with the Titans. He sucked as a coach, too. A long-lost Raider coach who should have been on the headset there in the fourth quarter screaming, "We've got to be the dumbest team in America in terms of playing the game, the Miami Dolphins." And he wouldn't be wrong. He would not have been wrong here. The Bills essentially treated Miami like a broken vending machine. Miami put the dollar in the vending machine. They wanted the chips. The chips were dangling. They pressed the button. They kicked it. They shook the machine. They pleaded with the vending machine, "Please, we want that. We want that bag of chips. It's marked W. We want that bag of chips. It's marked W." And the machine said, "No, we're not giving you that bag of chips. We took your money, and we're not going to do it." And that was the Dolphins. Buffalo was absolutely ripe. They were plump for the taking here. And the Dolphins, they tripped on their own shoelaces, and it was the daily double. It was the daily double here of Dum-da-dum-dum-dum, El Capitan edition. So we start with defensive tackle Zach Sealer. Who? Well, apparently a captain for the Dolphins. Never heard of the guy. He had the dunce cap play of the night there. So let me set this up there. It's the fourth quarter tie game. The Dolphins defense somehow has held, and the Bills are going to punt the ball to Miami. Miami's going to get the ball with an opportunity in a tie game to go down and take the lead. And what does Zach Sealer do? He says, no. He roughs the kicker. He runs into the punter. And so instead of getting the ball back with a chance to take the lead and put the pressure on the Buffalo Bills, instead you decided to gift wrap Buffalo a first down inside your territory. And Josh Allen, because you clobbered the punter, Josh Allen ended up going down and said, "Thank you very much," and boom, punched it right in the end zone. So that is the game changer right there. But wait, there's more. As every great infomercial used to say back in the day, the encore. Tua Tagovailoa, Mr. Tunnel Vision himself, deep in Bills territory, season on the line. And what does Tua do? What does he do? He locks in on Jalen Waddle, and like it's prom night there, and Buffalo's one of their linebackers, Terrell Bernard, that's not a bad name, Terrell Bernard, he cuts right in front of the passing lane, and it's it's like on prom night there, but he stole the flowers and all that, and he picked off the pass, and the legend of Tua Turner the ball over continues here. It was a puke-inducing throw. So let's hear from the man of the hour, Tua. You're the franchise quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. You had the ball in your hand deep inside Buffalo territory at the 26-yard line of the Bills, and you threw an interception. What do you have to say for yourself, Tua?
I thought I was in rhythm and timing of the play. Seeing the flat defender go over the top of Jalen. Jalen's turning around. I think that was a really good play by the defender. Had some color in my face trying to maneuver the throw as well. 10 out of 10 times, if we're looking at that same thing, I'd still try to work that timing of hitting that spot, and I think the linebacker made a great play on that. Okay,
so see, that's like if I did a bad segment of talk radio, I'd be like, well, 10 out of 10 times I'm going to do that bad segment again because it's going to work. It's absolutely going to work. That was, and I'm not a Dolphin fan. And if you listened or you watched over on YouTube, Benny versus the Penny, we handicapped the game. We gave you the Dolphins. We got that one right. So I was happy that Miami covered. They didn't win the game. I think they were going to win the game, but my God. That was puke-inducing by Tua, and it's another example of what the F were they thinking in Miami, giving this guy the contract they gave him. It's just insane. They got so much money, these NFL teams, that they give marginal quarterbacks massive amounts of money without actually earning it. That is a $200 million quarterback who telegraphed a pass in the fourth quarter deep in the opponent's territory. The Duke of Puke right there. And on that play, lights out, the party's over. There you go. Cannot do it. Cannot do it. Not at that time, not in that spot. That is self-destruction at its finest. They will teach that, how to self-destruct, the Miami Dolphins way there. So the Miami captains, literally in the fourth quarter of a tie game, the Miami Dolphins captains went Hasbro. They torpedoed their own ship. You sank my battleship, is what they said. These are supposed to be the leaders, the guys who set the tone. They're the ones that calm the storm. And instead, they were literally drilling holes in the hull of the ship. And the Dolphins went from going AWOL in Indy to beating themselves in Buffalo. So there you go. They didn't show up for the first game and then lost a close one with the Patriots last week. And then here again against what's supposed to be one of the powers in the AFC, had a chance in the fourth quarter and did not get it done. Now, turning the page, page 2. So some around the NFL are calling this close defeat a positive. I'm being serious here. Even some of the guys in the locker room, post-game, Tyreek Hill, the cheetah who had a touchdown and then did a nice little dance there. Tyreek Hill, the wide receiver of the Dolphins, said that his team is, quote, headed in the right direction, is what he said. All right, so how do you measure that? Tyreek Hill post-game said the Dolphins are headed to the right, or in the right direction, so how do you measure that? So I measure that with 4 words. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is a puffy sticker that reads moral victory is what that is from Tyreek Hill. And there are no moral victories in the NFL. It's one of the great things about sports. A lot of times in life there's a gray area. You don't really know where you stand with people or your employer or things like that. But in sports, you clearly have a winner and a loser. You win and everyone kisses your ass and says how great you are and gets all emotional. And you lose and you wear the clown, you drive the clown car, you wear the clown makeup and all that, period, stop. So let me decode Tyreek Hill's message here. He said, essentially, we lost, but at least we didn't look like a bunch of total buffoons. You thought we were going to get blown out. We didn't get blown out. Well, you still lost, Tyreek. Doesn't matter. We didn't get blown out. But you lost by 10 points. Doesn't matter. You thought we'd lose by 12.5. And so, problem, right? If you're a real contender and a real competitor, you don't do that. What are you doing? You know what Tyreek sounds like? Tyreek sounds like, we get these calls every once in a while. They're not usual listeners, but they're fanboys that'll call into the overnight show at 3 in the morning and be like, hey, and they try to convince me that, the team's close. That team's close. But the cheetah reminding me of my old dog Bella, the Shih Tzu. My God, no cheetah, more like a Shih Tzu. Now, meanwhile, how about the coach? Can we get a temperature reading on the Miami coach right out of a Cheech and Chong movie, Mike McDaniel, and his hot seat? What is the hot seat? Let's go over to cut 3 here. McDaniel says, despite what it might look like, the Dolphins actually had plans to walk out of the stadium in a good mood. Take a listen.
Our expectation was to come in here and win the game, and we knew we had to not turn the ball over. And we knew we had to, try to get at least plus or at least even with them in the takeaway department. And we had to play good football and make some plays. And, we had a turnover in a critical situation. We had a critical penalty against on a punt. Those types of things that's how these types of games are decided. So it feels like a loss and feels like we have a lot of motivation to get back to work.
All right, so there he is, the head coach. That's a leader of men right there. Boys, go out to battle. Run through a wall right there. No, I would like to go eat some Taco Bell is what I would like to do. Here's one more from the half-baked coach of the Dolphins, who points out that this is where he sounds like he's doing NPR or something. Well, take a listen.
Frustration that turns to focus. I would say that I'm very focused and motivated to continue eliminating things that cost us games. And, you have a young team, a lot of people that you're counting on, and you need them to not be young for very much longer and continue to grow. But I would say focus, because, I know I have a locker room that is all in to grow through the process. There's some tough lessons or tough things you have to deal with in the National Football League.
All right, so there he is, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Right? That guy. Oh, it's so bad. All right, man alive. Oh, okay, so I like when he said we have a young team that shouldn't be young. And, of course, then you know what would happen if they had an old team. We're an old team. They complain about that. Whatever they are, they will complain about. So the temperature reading on Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel's hot seat, this game was a lateral move. He's still in the Bikram, the yoga studio, the hot yoga, right? 105 degrees, very humid conditions. He's currently doing the triangle pose, the yoga triangle pose. He's marinating like a brisket. He put a brisket in a sauna. That's the coach. The Dolphins, who actually made the playoffs each of that guy's 2 seasons, his first 2 seasons as coach of the Dolphins, McDaniel, the last 21 games, the Dolphins have lost 13 of the last 21 games since that wild card loss in frigid Kansas City when Tua turned into an ice cube. They had to melt him to put him back on the bus after the game. It was wild. He actually was an ice cube. It was crazy. So now we hear that ownership of the Dolphins still loves their boy genius, pot-loving head coach there. The coach, the nerd with the laminated play sheet and all that. So he's still got a steamy seat. And the Dolphins hung in the game. But you get no moral victories and all that crap. It was a game that was winnable. All right? Bad teams lose close games. Good teams win close games. And right now Miami is a bad team. And all the yoga in the world is not going to stretch that into a team that is a playoff team, not this year.